These dogs, these dogs, these dogs. Pray for me. Anyway. Yo, you already know what time it is. Welcome back to another Thinker versus Speaker recap. If you didn't know, my name is Marissa, the Thinker, host of the Thinker versus Speaker podcast, a podcast where once a week I sit down with different guests and we talk about all things, anything, everything, life, love, relationships, spirituality, literally whatever we want to talk about. And we do it from real, authentic, and genuine place. So if you're into that kind of thing, definitely make sure you check us out on all streaming platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, literally wherever you listen to podcasts. So if I'm not there and you're looking for me, hit me up. I'll give you all my social media at the end. And yeah, we can hop on straight on into it. You know what I'm saying? I said that in the beginning, y'all. Dude, somebody rang the doorbell and these dogs have been going in for like the last 5 minutes. Like they won't stop. And I already got a late start. So yeah. That's how my week is going. You know what I'm saying? That feels like how my week is going. It feels like every time I start to go and do something, like I'll have all of these plans for how the week is about to go. And as soon as I start something, somebody else needs attention more. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else needs attention more, which is crazy because I actually think that's something that comes up in Friday's episode. So, you know what I'm saying? There was no new episode last week. We had a trust the process where we got to go through some of the old conversations that we've had. Honestly, usually in the past, I will put out like a trust the process probably like every 7 to 10 episodes. You know what I mean? Just whenever I would go through these spells, y'all. So actually, the real truth behind trust the process is just actually when it originated, right? And there was 2 of us doing the podcast. The trust the process was like all of the clips that we couldn't use because we were basically dicking around. You know what I'm saying? It was like all of the outtakes and clips that we couldn't use because we were messing around and it wouldn't make a good episode. So I will always take them and compile them into a compilation episode. And once it got to a point where I was doing these shows on my own, trust the process was something where I would either put one out if I didn't have an episode or if I didn't have an episode or if I was going through a slump where I didn't even know if I wanted to put out an episode at all. And honestly, usually that would probably be why I didn't have an episode, because I just didn't want to reach out to people to get an episode. I was going through my whole thing, right? And it's crazy because I guess in a sense it leads into the conversation about what the next episode is about, which to a certain degree is purpose. That's actually how I found out that even doing this podcast has, a little bit of my purpose in it, which is crazy, right? To those of you that don't know the story, I actually started doing the podcast. Well, the podcast had been an idea in my head when I moved down here. And I moved down here probably around 2018. I moved from St. Louis to Texas probably around 2018. And I was in a really lost place when I did so. And I was starting to find myself for the first time. Long story short, life goes on. I have some happy moments and I don't think about the podcast ever again. But then I break my leg, I go through a breakup, and the idea of the podcast comes back. I start going on this whole healing journey. That's where the podcast begins. That's where the first iteration with me and Justin doing it, that's where that came from. And, a year after it started, because we started it back in, I think 2021 is when we started it. After that year, when I started doing it on my own, I would go through these phases of is this even what I want to do? I felt so called to it when I started it, when that idea came back up around after I broke my leg, I was super passionate about it because I needed a way to release all of the feelings and the frustration and everything that it was that I was going through. And I was also feeling very inspired at the same time. So for it to be such a dark time in my life, it actually triggered one of like my biggest inspirations, right? So the podcast and me healing have actually gone hand in hand the entire time. I've actually been listening to some of the old episodes back when Justin and I did it recently, just to see how much the show has changed and has grown. And, it was ironic because as I was listening, I could see how those episodes led to where we are now. And I can see just how much God has really just worked in my life to change me and form me into the person that I am today. And it just leads me to a place where I'm just so grateful for the growth. But I said all of that because I would have the days where I didn't want to reach out to people and I didn't want to pursue new episodes because I would be questioning, like, is this even for me? Is this something that I want to do? It's not getting the results that I want. It's not really doing what I wanted to do. It's taking a lot of work. It's more work than I've ever had to do. It takes time. It takes money. And I'm sacrificing a lot, like my friendships are struggling. You know what I'm saying? My relationships with my family, the time that I'm able to spend with people that I care about and I love, I'm having to sacrifice all of that, and it's not even giving me the results that it is that I desire. And it's really understanding that, I'm in a process, because every time that I would want to quit, or every time that I would start second guessing what it was that we were doing here, I would get a little closer. I would find even more motivation, and things will be a little more clear. I've said this on an episode before. The last time that I even went through a slump, it was so funny because I literally had just got done praying and I'm like, God, it's just really for me. And as soon as I got done praying, I get a text from Key and it's just like, all right, I'm ready to come back on the show. And it's just like, I guess we doing this. You know what I'm saying? I guess it's meant for me to do it. And that's how I know, like, doing this is a part of my purpose. And it's because, and the reason that I keep doing it, even though it might not necessarily be going the way that I want it to go, it is still making progress. We're still growing. The amount of views that we get on an episode is still going up. The views are going up. Like, shout out to y'all that keep tuning in and keep looking for all of these episodes. I appreciate it. The comments that we get, the shares, everything. I see all of y'all, and y'all are what is helping to keep me inspired at the same time. But I have to keep me inspired at the same time too. And what's inspiring me is the love for what I do, because every time I get to sit and talk to someone like our next guest, Rachel, or the guest after that, Key and Trey and Dre, and you know what I'm saying? We've talked to Strick and just so many other people, right? So many people that we've talked to in the course of this show. I wanted to sit down and I just really wanted to reflect on the conversations that we've had this season and just the growth in general. And all of that is related to the next episode, which features a new guest who we haven't talked to before. Her name is Rachel, and her stage name is Eloquent Pearlfection. Okay? Not perfection, Pearlfection. Got it? All right. And she's a poet, and she's just been like ripping through these open mics just all throughout St. Louis. So you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Really cool person, really dope person, you know what I'm saying? Again, we met through chance, by chance, Trey got that link together. Shout out to you. You always putting me on and sending new and good people my way. So shout out to him. Shout out to A&O Movers and Emerging Business Leaders Expo. Appreciate y'all. But yeah, this week we're talking to her. She's a poet. She got some bars, like some major bars. And she's really fun to talk to and very insightful. I had a really good time doing this episode, and we get to talk about so much. It begins with us talking about how she got into poetry and what inspires the poems that she creates and the things that she writes, and just who she is as a person. She's a person that likes to inspire other people and just be a light to other people, and she uses her art and her creativity to do so. And just through talking about that, we get into like how she started writing, and those moments where you'll get that creative spark, and then you just got to go write something down real quick, and you just get inspired by just anything, you know what I'm saying? And that's the fun part about having a passion, in anything, being passionate about anything. You get these like sparks of inspiration, and it can come from anywhere. And just seeing how these things go full circle just by, yes, my art inspires me. This is my creative outlet, but I get to use my creative outlet, something that helps me, something that's healing to my soul, and I get to share it with other people, and seeing how other people resonate with what it is that you do. And, how it just, the crazy feeling of allowing, man, it's so hard to put this into words. I apologize, y'all. But y'all know I don't edit it. I don't cut stuff out. But it's beautiful to see how something that inspires you can turn into something that therefore can inspire other people, and seeing it come full circle. She references a moment, like she started writing because a poet came to her school and gave her a journal. And not to ruin it, but when she did her first show, her first paid gig, and she got that first paid gig, she brought a journal and she gave it to someone else, and then she therefore got to inspire them. And to me, what I see in a situation like that is just how, in the bigger picture, God working to put all of these things together. The same way how, when I sit and I question myself about, is this the right thing for me to be doing? And I can get a text from Key, her having a moment where, somebody giving me a pen and a journal is what inspired me. Let me give a pen and a journal to someone else, not thinking that it's going to be a big deal or anything like that, but getting to give that to somebody else because that was something that was so impactful to me. And then to her, not to me, y'all get what I'm saying, but giving that to that other person and seeing how much it was able to inspire them. And we talk about, how you figure out what your own individual purpose is as a person, because everybody has a different purpose, and we talk about the levels of purpose, right? Because purpose is so much bigger than just what you do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I do this show, but I do other things. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes purpose isn't necessarily even a talent. It's a part of it. You know what I'm saying? Whether you write, whether you read, whether you're an orator, whether you're whatever you can be, because it's so many different things, but it's also being a mother, being a father, being a good friend, being you know what I'm saying? Being good at the job that it is that you do, or anything, or just being able to walk down the street and then put a smile on someone's face, being a comedian. There's so many different ways to find purpose. So we talk about all of those different things. In the episode, like I said, I done talk too much. Y'all know I don't like talking about the episode before it comes out, but here we are. I've said enough. There's going to be so much more in this episode. I highly recommend y'all check it out. It comes out tomorrow at 11. Like I said, it's on all of the streaming platforms. So definitely make sure to go check it out. Like I said, I'm going to put a flyer up if y'all looking to see Rachel. If you're looking to follow her on social media, follow my social medias, and I'll put up that flyer that has all of her social media on it. You know what I'm saying? But just at the quickness, I know she's on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube under Eloquent Pearlfection. But if you can't spell it, check me out on social media. And if you're looking for me on social media, you can find me at MarissaY17 on Instagram, Marissa the Thinker on Facebook and YouTube. And then you can find Thinker versus Speaker at Thinker versus Speaker on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. We got TikTok, but I don't never use it. So if you're looking for me there, you might not find me there. But yeah, on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, y'all. I got a couple more things to do to wrap up this episode and get it ready for y'all. So with that being said, I hope y'all have a good week. Y'all are having a good week, and you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow. Later.